Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Worthy Well podcast with Nikki G, where we go deep, we draw from the well for solutions, and we pour all of those things into our everyday lives. I know it looks a little bit different this week, but I did not have the time to do the setup like I normally do with my helpful producer. Hey, Sam. But I want to be consistent. Consistency is a muscle, y'all. The more you work it, the more consistent you are. And I finally got this podcast going. And although I have a lot going on with school and work and everything, I want to be consistent and keep this podcast going. So if that means I have to pivot a little bit, I'm going to pivot a little bit. So you may see that it's different. I'm not in my normal spot, but you still can see the bookshelf because I just love to read. And I just want to impart some things to you on this week. And just know that I selected Wednesdays very, very intentionally. It's not Monday in the beginning of the week. It's not Friday at the end of the week. But normally in the middle of the week, over that hump, is when we have to sometimes recalibrate our week and our days and to see where we stand with just do a temperature check. And so that's why I chose Wednesdays, and I want to be consistent with Wednesdays where you can come to the well. And as I was just thinking about beginning the podcast, it's very much new in development stage, in the infancy stage. My very best friend of almost 35 years gave me some love because I believe that feedback is love. Feedback means that you care. And what I love about my best friend is that she tells me the truth. And yes, her delivery is amazing, but she tells me the truth. And there's some things that I definitely need to refine and develop with the podcast, but I'm going to get there. But what I thought about is that if I had not started, I don't even know how I could get better. You cannot get better at something unless you start. And so I know we are listen, this is the first quarter of the new year already. And I know that so many of you have something that you've been wanting to do, something that you've been wanting to implement, to start, and you've just been waiting to feel ready. That thing right there will keep us so stuck and paralyzed, waiting to be ready. So my podcast, it's not perfect, it's not polished, but I've started so I can start to get it to where it needs to be. I can take the feedback. I can be more concise with my messaging. I can take more time to develop some of the things that I want to say because sometimes I know what I want to say. As my best friend said, she said, you know what you want to say. And Nikki, I know you. But for those that don't, make sure that you're putting together the show in a way that anybody can understand it. Because what's the purpose of putting it out there and nobody can understand it, right? So I want to talk about being ready, how waiting to be ready can hold us back because ready is waiting on you. What I know for sure is that the confidence comes in doing it. If you're waiting on this big inspiration to come over you and then you just go full speed ahead and you listen, some people may be wired that way, but most of the time, fear will come in and it'll kind of stop you in your tracks if you let it. So as you walk forward step by step, that's when the confidence comes. So I know I'm not the only one. And yes, I'm using notes. Because what I've learned is that if I do not use notes, I will go off on my Nikki G tangents. And y'all know I like to talk. So I have to stay on target. And I'm going to get my little nice index cards like I see other people have with my logo on it and all that. But I don't have it, and I'm going to work with what I have, which is good old-fashioned paper. So I just want to let you know that starting my podcast is just proof that you can do it not feeling ready. You think I felt ready? I did months and months of analysis, just listening to podcasts and looking at YouTube videos, and just because I thought the more information I gathered would make me feel ready, and then I'd be ready. Still wasn't ready, and didn't even use a lot of those notes that I had. I just had to speak from the heart and go for it. And now that I've started, I know what I need to work on. I can move forward knowing that I've started and I can do this and I'm going to be consistent no matter what. So I want to talk about 5 things that we can do, 5 things that we can all do when we're feeling like we're just not ready, so that we can get out of our head and move to action. We're in the first quarter of the new year. We want to make sure that by the end of this year, we have started that thing, implemented it, and taken the steps to go forward, because we are worthy of doing the things that we know we can do, but we let self-doubt talk us out of. So the first thing, move before your mind catches up. I love this. Our feelings are going to lie to us every time. Feelings are not facts. So when you think of it, before your mind can even catch up, write it down and do what you can to take one step in the right direction. What is it? Is it finding out how to get that LLC? Taking that $50 or whatever it costs? Before your mind even catches up to lie to you about what you can't do, take a step. Take one step. Write down a plan. This is my plan for the week, and I'm going to do these 5 things this week. So do that. That's number 1. Number 2, shrink the moment. Not shrink yourself, but sometimes we have these ideas and we're so grand with it that it's very overwhelming. And I don't know about you, when I'm extremely overwhelmed, I don't do nothing. I'd be so tired and so overwhelmed by so much that I go somewhere and take a nap. So in order to not do that, shrink that moment a little bit. Okay, you want to start the business and you want to start the podcast, whatever you want to do. That's the big goal. What about the small steps? Shrink it down to one step at a time, because you will overwhelm yourself. I want to work out 7 days a week. I'm going to work out 7 days a week for an hour a day. That's a bit much. I'm not saying you can't do it, but what I'm saying is shrink it down to something a little bit more realistic as you start, because you're going to be sore, okay? So say, you know what? I'm going to walk for 20 minutes 3 times this week. That will make it more realistic and you can attain it that way. So that's number 2. Number 3, accept that it's going to be messy, sis. It's not going to be in a perfectly wrapped red bow. When you start something for the first time, it's going to be a little messy. It's going to be a little shaky. You're going to have to refine some things. When a baby starts to walk, the baby is just wobbly. Boom, get down, right? That baby will get right back up and try it again. So accept that it'll be messy. If you're waiting on it to be something that's so perfect, like if it's a podcast that you've been watching and that podcast has millions of subscribers, been doing it for years, yes, that's going to be nice and polished because the person has been working on it for a while. So do not get caught up in perfection, because yes, anything that we start has to be refined and developed. It does not mean that you're lacking. It just means that you started and now it's time to whip it into shape. So that's number 3, accept that it will be messy. Number 4, stop waiting for confidence, because confidence doesn't come first. Evidence does. So as you start and you make the steps forward, the evidence that you've done it, the consistency, the support that you'll get, and even if you don't get the support, just the self-satisfaction knowing that I am going towards something that I know I want to do and that I've said that I want to do. So as you start to do it, the confidence will rise and you'll do it. So don't wait for the confidence. Do the work. The evidence that you've done it will give you the confidence to keep going. And number 5, anchor in purpose, not feelings. Feelings change. Purpose does not. So you have to know your why. And when you go back to that why, that will not change. Your feelings will. You know, I have about 42 subscribers. I could really allow that to discourage me because I have thousands of followers on my other paths. But YouTube is a little bit more of a slow climb. You know, I had about 60 views, so I'm getting there. But if I were to let the numbers discourage me, that would be my feelings. That would overtake my purpose, but it cannot. I know what my intentions are. I know that my intention of having the Worthy Well podcast is for women to know their worth, to know that they're enough. I do not want another woman to fall into the pitfall of what unhealed trauma will cause. And that's what I had to go through. I don't want another woman to have to fall through the pitfalls of unhealed trauma and not feeling their worth, because when you don't feel worthy, you will make decisions that line up with that. And I don't want that to happen. So since I have that purpose and I know my why, I won't allow my feelings to take over. So that's the fifth one, y'all. Anchor in purpose and not in feelings. Your voice is your power. Your strength is your power. That thing that you want to do, the world is waiting on it. It could save a life. It could inspire someone to change his or her mind. It is the thing that is needed, but it's just you waiting to move forward, right? Waiting to feel ready. And if you're waiting to feel ready, you'll never start. You have to just go step by step. So I just wanted to impart that with you all. So I always do the deep, the draw, and the pour. And so the deep is, why don't you feel ready? We have to get to the root of that. Why is it that we don't feel ready? Sometimes because we have that voice in our head that's saying that we're not enough. Who are they? They're not going to listen to me. They're not. Why would they listen to me? Oh, I've made mistakes and missteps. Why would anybody look at me as a credible source? Why would anybody support my business? So we have to look to that. That's the deep. Why don't we feel ready? Is it the fear of being seen too early? Is it the fear of success? Well, if I put myself out there, then I got to maintain it. So that's the deep. Why are we holding ourselves back by not feeling ready? So when we really, really get to the deep of it, write down some things like, write that down. Why don't I feel ready? And start to just kind of explore what's going on with you to make you not feel ready. And once you do that, you definitely will be able to get closer because you'll know, this is what's going on with me. Let me get to the root of it. And then the draw. What do you choose to take from feeling like you're not worthy? What can I do to move forward, right? I need to realize that just because I feel like I'm not worthy, it doesn't mean that I'm not worthy. Just because someone may have a thought of me in the past that they're holding on to, it doesn't mean that I have to hold myself to my past. I'm not my worst mistake. So what we take from it and the draw is, yes, I may feel like I'm not worthy, but I know that I am. I'm worthy enough to move forward. And I'm going to decide not to let my past hold me back. And I'm not going to let my past define me. I'm going to start. So the deep is, why am I feeling this way? Let me get to the root of why I'm feeling like I'm not ready. And then the draw, what am I going to take from those things that I discovered in the deep? I'm going to take from it that just because someone else may be holding me in the past doesn't mean I have to. I'm going to move forward. And just because I feel unworthy does not mean that I am unworthy. I am worthy to move forward. And then the pour. How are we going to take these things and pour them into our everyday lives, right? What happens when you start anyway? What happens? It builds your confidence. It means that you are putting yourself out there to show up, not perfect, but you're showing up as you are because you are enough. It's like taking another step without knowing the full outcome. All you know is every day I'm going to take the step. That's what faith is. I don't know everything, but I know that I have control over taking this step right now. So I'm just saying that, you all, because you have to start anyway. You have to start before you're ready because you'll never be ready. You're waiting on all the funding. You're waiting on all the money. You're waiting on everybody to support you. You're waiting on everybody to just be your biggest cheerleader. Yes, you're going to have that, but not always. And you have to start anyway. I'm saying that because there's so many women out there that have ideas and businesses. And even if it's just on your job, you want to raise your hand and say something, but you shrink back because you're afraid of moving forward. You're afraid of what someone may think of you. And you've been waiting and waiting and waiting, ready, waiting and waiting and waiting. And you'll never feel ready. You're going to feel that as you do it. The confidence comes in doing it. And I'm saying that from experience. So you're not stuck because you're not ready. You're stuck because you think readiness comes first, and it does not. You start, and that's how you become ready. So I thank you all for tuning in to another rough cut. Listen, I know that I have a long way to go with my podcast, but I am excited to have you with me. I have gotten the support, I've gotten the love, and I feel the love. And I'm going to keep going until I can't go anymore because this is something that I'm very passionate about. And what I know for sure is when we go to the deep of the why, we feel a certain kind of way. And when we draw from knowing why we feel a certain kind of way, and then we pour what we've learned into our everyday lives, we're going to win. And I want us all to win. There's room for all of us. And just know that I love you. I really mean it. You are worthy by birthright. Okay? Your worth is not determined by the family that you come from, your socioeconomic status, how good your body is, and all that. Your worth is because you are. You are worthy because you were born. And some of us have been through some things and have suffered some trauma, and it has caused us to think that we're not worthy. And we have to unlearn that and realize that we are. I love you so much. Thank you for tuning in to the Worthy Well podcast with Nikki G, where your worth runs deep. Until next time, everybody,
really
I love you.
It's very soft, and I really love it. The details will be in the bio. And a woman should always be pulled together and smell delicious. This is artwork, marshmallow flavor. It is so divine. I'll give you the details.